Thanks.
Oh, your anniversary?
You ruined everything, Eddie. Here I am.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it was on Friday. We went out to eat. You're good. We're good.
Well, thanks. I appreciate you being here. So, like I said, if you can't see this, let me know. So I'm doing this on my phone here, but
It looks good.
Okay, cool. So, prospecting is why we're doing it. I could pull up Kevin Ward's definition and I'll send you this so you can watch the video. But it's exactly what you guys are saying. Prospecting it's the actions essentially that go into contacting people for the sole purpose of obtaining their business. So a lot of people, I think, when we say prospecting, think, oh, phone calls or cold calling or those types of things. But one of the things that we want to focus on is the most useful and powerful prospecting that you're going to do is when you do stuff that's comfortable to you. Like if you're not comfortable calling people, the odds of you being really great at calling on the phone, it can take time, but for your immediate value, you're probably better texting or Facebook messaging or bomb or video or Facebook or social media posts. So like those are kind of the things when you think of prospecting. It doesn't just have to be, oh, I'm going to sit down and call people. So I want to keep that kind of.
Eddie, what's that bonbon thing that you mentioned? I've heard you say that before.
Yeah, so BombBomb is a video chat platform where I'll go into that here in a little bit.
Okay.
But yeah, that's one of our messaging kind of techniques, but it's a great tool because it gives you tracking capabilities. It gives you an informal way to be personal, so, and we'll get into that in a minute here. So, and one of the most important things of why you do prospecting, I really want to hammer it out, is in real estate, you go through roller coasters, so it's very easy to get caught in the shuffle of, hey, I'm prospecting, I'm doing well. And then you start getting clients and you start getting out and showing clients. And then, you're servicing them, so you're showing them, you're writing offers, you're, doing the home inspections, you're doing all that, but you lose track of prospecting, you lose track of that lead generation part of it. So it's a really important thing for you to continue to do that and put it into a time blocking part of your day, so continuing into that, stats, right? I love stats. Can you still see this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's switch the screen. So I just want to make sure. So I'm a big stat person, when it comes to everything. So it makes it trackable. But going into the idea that the follow-up on leads and all things is by far probably the most important thing when it comes to prospecting in a lot of ways. So you have your sphere leads, but then a lot of it is like Facebook leads or online leads or, people that come into your life, it's, or when you're showing your friends or showing your friends, it's following up with them after you show. It's easy to go show a house, but you have to continue to follow and be like, hey, what did you think of that? What do you think of this one? It's not just about that initial contact. It's about continuing to, engage them and make sure that, it's not just that house, so going into, that idea of, just looking at the stats, 48% of people never follow up with a prospect. Think about that, and it's 100% true. Like I'm a testament. Agents don't work on our team because they don't follow up. It's 100% true. Like I can guarantee it. Or maybe they do it once, and look at the stats of that, 25% of people from that, out of the people that actually do follow up, 25% of people make a second contact and stop, they don't go back, so it's part of that idea of, the amount of people, that actually, it's kind of just interesting to look at, like, hey, the lack of people that actually follow up, and you can see in the bottom there, 80% of sales made in are made with 5 to 12 contacts, so it's, when that's where we'll get into setting up automated systems and doing those things and why that's important and why not to feel like you're being a burden, you know what I mean? Because I think that's part of the issue that people have to get over psychologically, like let me ask you guys, like, what's your biggest mental obstacle that stops you from sitting down, for a half an hour a day or an hour a day to just prospect? What's the biggest thing that stops you? Obviously, Paul, you don't have a license.
Well, you mean just like obviously just the like dedicated time. I mean, even just this morning, I told Matt I wanted to come up here half an hour before because I haven't uploaded leads that I've snagged up into Command yet, and like I wanted to make today part of like a follow-up day, and then we got busy, and I just walked upstairs right before the call. So like I missed that time that I had failed to block out this morning to like actually just do it. Like it's not hard stuff. It's just the act of sitting down and doing it, because it almost feels like an administrative type of task that isn't as like personal or as like conversations like this.
Yeah, that's a great part. What do you guys think, Megan? Like I know, but what do you think is that biggest thing?
I mean, I would agree with Jamie because I'm at home with the kids now. It's hard to, pick that dedicated time where I'm going to sit down because there's always something that comes up. But that's something that I've been working really hard on scheduling to make sure I have someone at the house to make sure that I can put that time in, or even use the late evening hours.
Yeah.
Eddie, is there a best practice or like etiquette for hours when we should or should not reach out to people? Like, a lead that I had reached out to yesterday, I don't know if they butt dialed me or something, but it was like 4 a.m. that they responded back, and I'm like, I
always think of it as the idea, if I got the lead from them at that time, then they're up at that time, like regardless, so it kind of makes me stand out if I follow up with them, late or early, because, they're up at that time. But yeah, I think that there is kind of I think in the normal sense of it, the etiquette is, I would start at 8. I think that that's just the good common practice of if you're setting a time.
Okay.
On the side there, it says the ideal times, to prospect are between 2 and 5 every day. Just because it's people getting that drag from work, it's time when they actually want to actually do it. And then going into the idea on the side there, how much time, like how many calls, how many hellos, on average, and, it shows there, 165 minutes of real estate. So about 2.5 hours, or every 7.83 people that you say hi to. So every 8 people equates to an appointment. This is calculated on a website, and I believe they pulled it from Zillow, or they did a study on this. So, it's from that pointtohomes.com, just we want to look it up from there.
Eddie, would you say like there's a best practices on like, so like the sequence of follow-up? So is it like phone call, then text, or?
Yeah. Right. That's a great, I think, so there's a lost art of phone calls, I think a lot of people are uncomfortable doing them. So I think the first contact is not bad to be a text message. Number one, because it eliminates someone, because a lot of the time, sometimes your online leads might not have the right phone number or something, and a text message can kind of flush that out. And we're going to get into smart plans too, and smart plans kind of can help create this automated flow, and that starts with like messages and emails. So normally I kind of recommend with a smart plan, we'd start with a text and an email, and then, a phone call the next day, because that's where I think the majority of it does well, so yeah, I just think that there's no right way or wrong way, but I think in terms of how we're going to do it, an automated workflow with smart plans is going to be text and email first, and then a phone call after. Okay. So let's get into how do we qualify it? So we get a lead, right? We get an online lead, or you get like your friend, or you get like someone that you're just meeting or talking to. So there's a very common qualification reference called LP Mama, or Mama, and it relates to this. It's the location. So where do they want to live? Whenever you're talking to someone or a prospect or anyone, like as we hired inside sales agent, or as we've done that in the past with agentology, this is what they use. It's like, you're trying to figure out where they want to live, how much they can afford, how fast, when can they move, their motivation there. If they signed a buyer's agreement, like, do they have that type of relationship with an agent? They might say, hey, I'm working with an agent, but I'm not happy with them. that's really cool, but just make sure that they haven't signed a buyer's exclusive agreement with them, because even with that, there's not much you can do. And then, are they pay, like what kind of financing they need, and, and then schedule the appointment, so it's a basic idea of just, what a lot of people are doing, just condensed down, like in your head. So if you're ever like kind of pulling over, like, oh, what should I be asking them when I get them on the phone? Like this is kind of a good barometer. Okay. Any questions or thoughts on that?
No, it's helpful, the acronym, because in one of our team meetings a while ago, I think Pasadena brought that up and I didn't know what he was talking about. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, so it it just kind of gives you that nice way to, like, in your head, if you can, location, price, motivation, agent, mortgage, appointment, like it just it keeps you on flow. So okay, so then it gets us into who are we actually prospecting? Basically I kind of broke it down into, you have your sphere prospecting, like you have your online leads, and then we have like email blasts, and then everything else. So if there was one thing I could probably recommend to you guys, it's sphere prospecting. 67% of your business, it's a stat, but it's roughly, I can attribute it to, it's 60 to 70% of my business comes from my sphere, my friends, my family, people messaging me on Facebook, all those different things. That's where, getting, that consistency in your prospecting can be very, very simple. If you're actually sitting down to spend time, blocking off, half an hour or an hour every day to prospect, the first thing that you should do is post something real estate related, on your social media posts. It should be the very first thing you do. Go through your posts and like as many things as you can. Comment on people's posts, spend time actually doing that, because that is a really important part of your posts appearing higher in other people's search rankings. So as part of your prospecting plan, it's to like put down time, to actually comment on other people's social media and do those. Because what we want to focus on is cheap, automated, easy things that you can do to help get you business without spending a ton of money, obviously we'll spend when we need to, but these are just easy things that you can do, and Facebook social media posts are the easiest thing. And also Facebook Messenger. We're going to get into that a little bit, but Facebook Messenger is such a powerful tool because it gives you a chat pop head, it like pops your head up, on a screen when your head pops up. So all of your, whenever you see it, they definitely notice you if they have Messenger. You can copy and paste your text, from your desktop, where it's just as simple as like, hey, interest rates are at an all-time low. Our team will clean your house, we'll mow your lawn. We do all these cool things. If you ever want to sit and talk about it, like just let us know. Or Maddie will make a really cool graphic. You could take that graphic and just copy and paste that graphic, into your social media, and constantly blast your friends. People really don't care. Like it's really not. I shouldn't say constantly, but more of like a structured, like personalized message that doesn't seem, generic. It's like you can make it sound personal, but not, just copy and paste it and change the name out really fast. Which
hey,
is like
Eddie, really quick. So like, would you say then, as you're like thinking of like a marketing campaign, because like 70% of your business comes from your sphere, like you really are marketing to like your friends and family almost in a way? And so like,
exactly,
like asking like, hey, do you know anyone that's interested in real estate? Or like asking those questions, like, would you be comfortable, referring me, like kind of thinking about that as far as like marketing goes.
exactly.
Or even like, hosting, like I know in the past you've hosted like a Christmas party for like family and friends, like to bring their kids and stuff. So like, would you say it's kind of important as you think about marketing, you kind of think about your marketing really to your family and friends, and like who's going to spread the word for you?
Exactly. Like your first, like if I were going to sit down and do this, if I were getting started in real estate, I would make up a Facebook post, a message, and I would just say, hey, I just changed careers. I'm getting into real estate. I joined this great team that does all these cool things and make like maybe something, we clean your house. We do these awesome tours, or here's an example of a website that we do. I would really appreciate any support that you can give me and my friends, or me, if you know of anyone that's thinking of buying or selling, I would really appreciate you letting me know. Thanks so much. I really, really appreciate it. I hope you're well. That would be my post. And then I would copy and paste that. And maybe I'd have Maddie making some silly graphic, or maybe Maddie making a silly graphic. And then I would just start copying and pasting that. And I would do it to maybe 10 people. Obviously, don't do it to a husband and a wife, do it to one couple, person in a group, just kind of go down and make sure that people know that kind of going down the list here, you want all of the people that to know that you buy and sell houses, whether it be a call, because calls, I highly recommend calls to an older generation, anyone like your parents' friend, anyone 45 and above really appreciates a phone call, they become a little more loyal, a little more connected, like the calls as opposed to text. Not that they don't text, obviously everyone does, but I think that generation appreciates a phone call a little more than, say the millennial generation, so.
I like too what you were just saying about like in a message to everyone, like just asking for general support and saying like, if you know of anyone, can you have that, like, can you keep me in mind to like refer me? Whereas it feels a little less like in your face salesy to your exact friends. So you just contact your friends and say, keep me in mind for anyone you find out. I'm not even asking you. I'm asking you to keep me in mind for others. And it feels a little less like aggressive almost.
Yeah, because it's if you say just keep me in mind, I appreciate your support, those types of things, when your friends are, all you have to do is just stay top of mind. That's all that it is about, because it's about real estate. A lot of it is about timing. It's that idea that they're at work and their friend's like, oh, wow, like I think we're going to have to move or something like that. And they're like, oh, wow, my friend just messaged me, you should talk to her. They do all this cool stuff, and a lot of it is timing, but the more people you get out there in front of, the timing becomes better, because like you just hit a better, opportunity for people, so the better you can hit out, the more people that you think would be raving maniacs of yours, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your aunts, like start at your inner circle and work your way out, because those are the ones that are going to give you the best bang for your buck. You want the best use of your time. Every single minute you have, like we're just talking about it, is valuable to you. That's how you get paid. So when you're thinking of the people you want to prospect, you don't want to just prospect willy-nilly, like you kind of want to think of it as the people that are most likely to support you, so you start with your husband, obviously your husband, hopefully, or your wife, like hopefully they should be supporting you, and then you think of, okay, my mom and my dad, simple message to send them, but your mom and your dad sometimes don't even think to refer you. I know it's silly, but they, now that you're transitioning into a totally different job, their method for you is a little different. They haven't been used to like saying, oh, hey, my daughter's a realtor, or, oh, hey, my son's a realtor, or, oh, hey, here's how I can be using my, so kind of start there and be like, hey, I appreciate the referrals, and make sure people know that you live on referrals, so, and going into that idea of like the relationship aspect, and Greg Vasilko said something. Greg's $100 million producer, and he said something that always kind of stuck with me, where he said, you can go invest in leads, and you can invest in marketing, invest in that, or you can invest in relationships. And he always chose to invest in relationships, where he would take his friends out to coffee. He would buy a round of drinks, and be like, hey, just remember I sell houses, and, he would, go out and take friends to go golfing, and pay for a round of golf, with his friend. He would do those things because he built that brand loyalty. It was like, hey, it gave them a chance to know that, hey, he's in real estate. He wouldn't talk about it that much, but he just let it be known that, hey, I appreciate your business. I appreciate your support. And especially those people that refer you, you want to do those types of things for those people, because, if they know, hey, I'm going to keep referring you, you can't necessarily go buy them a gift for someone who closes. But if you're being a friend, and, Gary said something at Mega Camp at his thing, and he said something that love is spelled Time, and it's so true, where you think of like people know that you care about them based on how much time they feel you invest in them, like it's just how it works, it's the weird world that we live in. So, if you invest time into like, hey, thank you so much for that referral, here's my consistent thing that I do, or, oh, hey, do you want to get coffee, do you want to get a beer, do you want to do this or that, people really appreciate that. So that I highly recommend kind of developing your marketing plan. So part of what we're talking about is developing that plan of how we're.
Well, really quick, Eddie, I think
Go ahead.
one of the other things too, to that point is, the people close to you, I think explaining to them how real estate works, and it's like 100% commission based, so that people get an idea of like how much these types of referrals will help you. Like, I know, just using your and my relationship, for example, I don't know how many of my friends or like coworkers or network or whatever I've referred to you. And it's funny because like when I even talk, about like my family, so people will be like, oh, is that your realtor brother or your brother that's like a realtor or stuff? They like know because it naturally comes up in conversations, or they know somebody else in our like friend group that has used you. So I think kind of just even, explaining to people that are close to you, like, friends, coworkers, whatever, like how like the real estate process actually works, and how it's, like you're not getting paid unless you get these types of referrals, I think is also helpful to people, because they're like, oh, then I'm going to be loyal because I know sort of how it works, and I know that that's, how, my friend gets paid or my friend's friend gets paid.
That is such an awesome point. Yeah, like I don't think a lot of people realize that, like you don't get paid until that house closes. Like so, that is such an awesome idea. I had no idea. Like, did you guys have any idea? Like how your agent got paid? Like I had no. I remember like sitting down with Sheila Berry and being like, Sheila, how do you do I pay you in this? Like, do you get paid? And that was at the end after she had showed me a bunch of houses. Like, so yeah, I had no idea, and that's a really good point. So,
hey Shannon, can you start sending all of those family friend referrals over to me and Megan and Paul now, please? Thank you.
It's so funny. I actually had somebody last week, and I texted Mike and Eddie, and I was like, I know you guys are busy. So if you want to pass this on to somebody else, like totally, because
Megan and I have more time. We have more time to dedicate to your friends than Eddie does right now. So just
it wasn't. I did not take it, just so you know. So,
yeah, no, but it's totally true. I think, even me, like it's when you think about it, like just like your siblings or your best friends. I mean, like not to be like, oh, I'm feeding Eddie all this business, but I think at least like it's like 1 or 2 deals a year, just from like your siblings.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, I would say, like I would say in that range, which is amazing. Like that's an awesome source of business. Like Mike had referred me a bunch of things before he got into, real estate. Like, so it's those are the people that you need to rely on. I think a lot of people are like, I'm nervous to work with my family. Those are the people who are going to feed you. Like, so that's kind of making it where you have to really get those people to understand, like, I don't get paid until like someone closes, so any support you can give me is super appreciated. So,
and I think the other thing too is like you guys can share things on Facebook, but then asking like people that are close to you to share things too, because I think that's where Eddie's first deal actually came from. Your first client was, I shared that Eddie was licensed, and then someone I'm not even really close with, I went to high school with them. They were like, oh, it's cool that you posted that your brother's an agent. Can you give me their contact information? So it was like Eddie's literal like first client was like from me and his sphere sharing it on Facebook. So like if you're comfortable asking other people to like just share things that you're posting, I think that's valuable too.
A really good point. And going on to even, like that idea of following up, like that client that was the first client that I ever got was from that Channing post. They didn't buy a house for 12 months. Like our first conversation was that day, but she still lived in Toledo. I followed up with her regularly. I set her up on a search. I would touch base with her regularly. I would send her houses that I thought would match. I got her pre-approved. I walked her through houses virtually. Like we did a lot of work in order to get to where that is. And it's, but just going on like the idea that Facebook isn't a sprint, it's more of a marathon. It's like, hey, that lead was terrific. but it was for 12 months into the future, and it's like, that's what Facebook's all about. It's like, hey, keeping relevant so that when people actually do make those decisions, they see you. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you post something, you get a message immediately, about it, something, but sometimes it's more of the marathon than the sprint, so.
Yeah. Okay, so how often do you follow up with like a client that takes like 12 months? Like, how much are you following up with like that person?
So yeah, that's a great question. So I'll set them up on an auto search. Depending on the time that I have, in the beginning, I was doing one email a week that was like a personalized email of a house that I would go and look for them, like where it'd be like, oh, hey, someone's looking up to 250. I'd find something in the neighborhood and I'd make it more of a person like, oh, this house kind of reminds me of something that you would like, or maybe I'd pull something outside of the communities inside their search, so maybe they're looking, kind of everywhere, but maybe they're not looking in Berea, but they're looking in Fairview Park, and it's like, oh, hey, look what you get in Berea for a very similar price, and it's like a new house, so kind of showing some of those things, just to know that you're actually looking for them, like you're working and you're trying to stay engaged, so I would say once a week is that personal, but setting up on an auto search where they're getting stuff as soon as it hits the market, and being important when you're listening. A lot of it is listening. It's not so much like it's, making sure that the criteria you have set up is exactly what they're looking for.
I have a question, Eddie. So, like, with the way that the real estate market is right now, and like Jamie, this is probably a good question for you too. Like when you set people like these types of campaigns and whatever, and do you feel like sometimes people, like knowing the way that the market is now, and depending on like what the wording is and like whatever your marketing campaign is, do you think that there could be a way to almost psychologically get people to like sort of, I guess, like bite a little bit faster because they know that like this house is not going to be here in like a week, or because I know like I am a sucker for stuff like that. Like if I think, oh my gosh, like if I wait, I'm going to like totally miss out on this, when it's like maybe something I don't even need. Not saying that like a house is there, but is there like a type of campaign that you've run, especially like when the market kind of gets the way that it is now, where there's like multiple offers and stuff like that, saying like, hey, this is just hit the market, let me know, because I'm sure, and Jamie, I'm sure you're super familiar with like how that psychologically could get people a little bit more motivated to get out and see things.
So the only issue we run into that is we could do that for our own listings. We just can't market anyone else's listings. So, that's part of the. If something hits the market that's really great, we can't really say, hey, we have to get permission from the listing agent, and sometimes they won't care. But we could do that. We send out just listed postcards on our listings. But like in terms of campaigns, we kind of go with the idea of we have buyers in your market. Or we have buyers looking in your neighborhood, like we kind of use that one if we're sending out stuff, or, like that kind of urgency of like, oh, hey, like we have people looking in your neighborhood. If you're thinking about buying or selling, let us know. Because if we start with the idea of like we need listings or anything like that, like it kind of gives off that desperate idea where they're like, oh, I can just list it. It's like, say buyers, we can get in there. So, so we try and kind of focus, we can do any sort of campaign about if you ever want to farm a neighborhood, we could do that with any of our team listings, like, oh, hey, this just hit the market, let me know, and you can have, whatever you want on it. But as far as others, we're kind of limited on marketing those like that.
Eddie, do you feel like, so I like what you're saying about like we have buyers in your neighborhood, that idea. Then do you feel like it's appropriate in follow-up, more like conversations, but not like in writing, to be able to say, oh yeah, anecdotally, like for instance, that house on Beechwood where in Avon Lake, you had met with him, what was it, a year ago, and you thought that it was worth 80 grand less than what you're listing it for now. Like, do you give those types of examples, and does that make someone be like, shoot, now is the right time because inventory is so low?
Yeah. And that's where like it's a very fine balance where you don't want to give people like, because when you're blasting out, you don't want to give people the idea of like, oh, inventory's so low, you know, because it gives them the idea of like, oh, then I can just go list it myself, you know.
Right.
So there's like a fine dance of like kind of making it where it's like, hey, we have buyers, or you know, kind of what you're saying, like interest rates are at an all-time low, you know, or you know, kind of hammering those kind of, or you know, we have you know, those kind of things kind of help a little better instead of focusing on you know, like, hey, come call me to list your house, you know, like, I guess if that makes sense. Did that answer your question?
Yeah. Well, and I guess too, then like offering to do just like a quick CMA to just see if, you know, what you could potentially list something for is close to what they would be thinking that they could get for their house. If they're like, whoa, this is where what my house is potentially worth right now. Yeah, maybe we should consider this.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, you could do like a campaign that's like, you might be shocked at what your house is worth. You know, like call us for a free market evaluation, and then have like all the stuff. We clean your house, we mow your lawn, we do, you know, we have all these stuff, you know, the basic template, and then we can kind of modify it. And Maddie's great at that. You know, if you tell Maddie, hey, this is what I'm thinking, Maddie's going to send you a postcard template, you know, within a few hours of that looks great, you know, way better than what I'm, you know, design. So, you know, if you have any sort of postcard template, we'll get into that. You know, we split the costs on any postage that you send out. You know, we send out the just listed for free, but, you know, we'll get into that in a minute here. But does anyone have any other thoughts on relationships or, you know, your sphere?
Yeah, I have a question, Eddie. So our neighborhood, like our street, the neighbors are sometimes a little bit too like involved, but I'd like to start using them kind of as a sphere to build my base in Cleveland. So I was wondering, is there any rules to like sticking a little note in their box saying like, I'd love to have, you know, meet you for coffee if you feel comfortable, or have you over on the porch? You know, can I just like stick that in their mailbox? Is that fine since I don't have a lot of their contact info yet?
That's totally fine. You can do door hangers. You can do little, like, you could stick things. I try and avoid putting something in the mailbox. Okay. So like stick it in between a door or hang it on a door. Because if you put something in a mailbox, I think that's where it starts crossing a line that I don't know if you're allowed to do that.
What about, I was thinking about getting those like tiny little pumpkins and then like tying a little note to it and putting it on their porch.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that is great.
Okay.
You know, we've done little boxes before from a company. I can't remember which one it was. Like we made like a little like box, you know, that was custom branded, you know.
Yeah.
You can ask Casey. I know Casey knows who we did that with because we used to do that for housewarming gifts, you know, and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so you know, when we were at Howard Hanna, so we could definitely come up with like a little box, you know, type thing for you if you need, or if you know, want to do something like that. You know, and then, you know, like it's just going into the mailbox. Just keep that in mind, guys. If you're ever like doing those types of things, going inside the mailbox is the thing that gets you in trouble. So if you can stick it inside a door.
What's the difference between that and like sending a postcard though?
The postcard, you pay the postage.
Yeah, it's whether you're
it's like the actual paid postage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Allows you to go into the mailbox.
So you could do mailers, but I was kind of looking to do something unique that would really like catch their attention, make them want to reach out
I love the
come by and
thing.
say
That's so
you,
cute.
and then it would start up a conversation.
Right. So there's all sorts of ideas about that. So here's a few just to throw some to make your mind kind of think. So like there was Jason Abrams said that an agent did during this time of the year, they did custom leaf bags, you know, like for when you're doing yard work and you're like putting
super cool.
Yard, you know, you have like a stacked thing of leaves, you know, out when people going down the street, they see your name and your logo, like sell houses or whatever. You know, you could do like a mailer campaign or something like that where it's more of like, hey, like we did something that was like a scoop one where it's like, hey, if you ever want to give us the scoop on your house or the scoop on the neighborhood, you know, and we sent out little like scoops from Mitchell's ice cream, you know, it's like $3 a scoop, and we sent out like, hey, you know, like, you know, you could do that. People did popcorn where it's like, hey, see what's popping up, or you want to see what's popping up on the market or something like that. They send out little popcorn things. You know, like there's all sorts of little cute little things that we can do to kind of make it like, you know, you could do golden coins, you know, and be like, oh, you know, we're, you know,
that's cute.
you know, so Yeah, there's a lot of cute little ideas that we can do, and we'll help you with, if you have a plan and an idea of what you want to do, let us know, and we'll help share in the costs of those things, so
And
so
this
yeah.
isn't about like prospecting, but a family friend of ours is a realtor down in Columbus, and she said, well, realtors usually give like closing gifts, like, thank you to people for buying a house. She said that she always orders a custom cheese board. And so that every time they like bust it out at a party or something, it becomes like she's someone that they talk. It doesn't say her name on it, but like they're reminded of their relationship with her. So I was like, oh, that's a good thing. Like something that you wouldn't throw away.
There's a company that we used to use. I don't use it as much, but I love it. It's called it's a personal assistant, gifting assistant, where like after your closing happens, you can send a link over to your client and say, hey, thanks so much. It'll ask them to review you online, and then it'll also send them into a portal where it will ask them questions about themselves, like, hey, do you like wine or beer? Do you like snacks, salty or sweet? Do you like electronics? Do you like stuff and they get this questionnaire, and based on that they put together a package based on the budget you set up for what you want it to do, and then they send a custom branded box to them. And it's like a neat little letter that says, hey, thanks so much for using us, and then you can set it up that when it's their birthday they automatically get a birthday gift, because they know all their gifting stuff, and you can do that just I loved it personally. No one else did it, so it was kind of a waste of money because I was the only one doing it, but I thought it was cool. So just different ideas, because that's where, it's kind of getting into that personal idea of the relationship. It's like, I'd like the idea of making it a little more personal, so something that they might actually use. But some people like the idea of, you could do that. We've talked about with that, like even getting as personal as going and taking photogrammetry with a drone of their previous house and 3D printing their house. So instead of having like a picture of their house, they'd actually have like a 3D model of their home with like your name, the day it closed, like the Golden Group, and make a really cool 3D model for it, so they could keep, and we'd frame it on a mount, because it kind of is like, oh, that's my house. Like that's my first house, people like that kind of stuff. So it's all sorts of that creative idea, but keeping it as personal as you can, that's really the idea with sphere prospecting. Cool.
Yep.
So Eddie, like something like that, like let's say, for example, like Paul loves golf. So, like you were talking about, like how Greg Wasilka like bought a round of golf. Would you, or let's say for example, like my friends like wine. So, like if we went out with our friends and like we paid for like a round of golf or a round of drinks, would you think like it would be appropriate to be like, hey guys, I want to hashtag like my whatever your like real estate hashtag is, and like post the pictures on Facebook, and like, is that like an appropriate sort of like marketing thing if you're like taking your friends out and then they're like tagged and then they share it, I don't know, like on Facebook or whatever? Would you like encourage something like that?
Yeah, I don't know if you want to make it so salesy when you're hanging out with your, like where, but I mean, I definitely think just going and hanging out with your friends and then, like, I don't know if there's a good way to like market it as like, maybe you hashtag it business write-off, or something like that, or something like that, kind of something silly, like more so than make it like, oh, I'm only taking my friends out because of it, because you still want to kind of keep that human element of, you don't want your friends thinking like, oh, I'm just doing this to, like use this as an opportunity to exploit you in a way, like a little bit.
I would just tell my friends that to be funny.
Yeah. Yeah.
And be like, I'm going to use you in a marketing campaign and you're going to get free drinks and you're going to like it.
Yeah, and exactly. And don't get me wrong, like I'm not saying to not do it. I'm just saying like, just keep cautious of it, like so because it's what you hit on though is really kind of building that sense of community, where it's like, hey, if you like to play golf, set up a standing round of golf every Friday and invite 4 different people every week. If you like to go out and drink wine, do the same thing. Have a book club that you drink wine and you just talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. A book club, where you just literally sit around and drink wine, or heck, go and organize an event where you go make your own wine, like there's places, wineries that you can make your own or brew your own beer if you like to drink. We could organize an event where it's like, those are open areas. I'm sure we could have a brewing event, there's all sorts of stuff that you can kind of do, but to create that sense of community where your friends want to come to the things that you're doing because you're doing fun stuff, and you give them something to do to get out of their house or away from their life. That's crazy. Like, look at you guys. Like, I mean, we're talking, it's hard to even find a half an hour to an hour away but if your friend or you knew someone that's arranging something that's generally free and it's fun, and you're going to go drink for free or something, like it's pretty easy to get people motivated when you say, hey, free drinks, it's something fun with my friends. So, and then they have to bring one other person. So it's like, Mike had a good idea where he was like, I was going to he was going to hire a catered chef, because Mike likes to cook and Mike likes to eat. He was going to hire a catered chef to come to his house or to a setting, and then invite different people every week, and just have like a different thing, and just either talk about real estate, but make sure everyone understands that, they're a realtor or that he's a real estate agent. And, it'd be 5 different couples I think he was going to do. So it'd be like $20 a plate, I think is what he's talking about for the chef, 20 and 25, something like that. So it'd be like $300 or something is kind of like the total is what we were shooting for. But everyone gets a free meal, everyone knows that you're doing real estate, everyone is engaging and having a good time, and it just kind of, it's Mike, it's Mike likes that, he likes to cook. That's his personality, so yeah, just kind of keeping those ideas in your head of like, how can I create this community around the things that I really love, and especially with your sphere, so I'm going to keep going. Oh yeah, for sure.
So like, do you feel like, I see like a lot of new agents, and I feel like they come off like very desperate. Like, I was in this like one Facebook group, like before I passed my test, and like some of them, how they come off with like their marketing campaigns, it's like so desperate where it's like, I'm a new agent, like please list your house with me or stuff like that. Do you feel like all the things you're talking about is like ways to kind of like go around that?
Yeah, we
looking like too desperate where you're like, please give me your business.
Yeah. No, you definitely don't want to like come off like that. You want to come off as, I appreciate your support, or like, look, that's where whenever you're asking for those things, just give them a reason to want to use you, so that's why we do so much on the value proposition, is it gives a new agent the ability to say, hey, you're not just listing with me because like you're my friend or whatever, we're providing you amazing value, like no one else is doing this stuff, no one's cleaning your house and mowing your lawn and doing all that stuff. So it's like, hey, not only am I, you're supporting my new business, but you're also working with the team that's giving you the best value for the most affordable price, so, sure. This is also a reason. So I think it's don't emphasize the idea of like desperation or like, please list with me. Oh my gosh, like right. Do it as, I appreciate the support. Here's why you should use me, because we're giving you all this great stuff,
Yeah, I kind of actually did that with like the one lady I'm listing with, and it like, she wasn't even going to like for sure list it with me, but like it was kind of like, oh, we ran into each other, and then I was like, oh, hey, like actually, if you're thinking about listing, this is like some stuff we offered. And I think it was Golden Renovations that really sold her.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and that's exactly why we do it, is to kind of like, there's, when you're starting, you're competing with me, you're competing with Kim Crane, you're competing with Greg Wasoko, yeah. You're competing with the Ryan Youngs, like these people sell hundreds of millions of dollars a year, like, and you have to stand out to those people, like, because there's, you're going to have your friends and family who are going to just use you, like they're not going to interview anyone else, they're not even going to entertain it. But you're going to have some friends who, they have other friends who are agents, they have other family members who are agents, and you have to kind of show why they're going to use you, because you're going to do all this other shit, and you're going to do it at a price that's probably at the same or more affordable than them. And, it's going to look awesome because your marketing stuff looks good. And, Maddie will make any marketing stuff you want. And the whole idea behind that is to make sure that your brand looks great, so that when you go and you're at a listing presentation, you say, hey, here's my social media page. Here's how it looks. Here's how our pictures look in our listings. Here's all that stuff, so I think that's kind of why we
like one of like to that point, I think one of the sticking points, even like when I talk to other agents or like just talking about the Golden Group in general, I think one of like the big factors is like the CLE 3D and like being able to offer the products of CLE 3D like all of us being able to use it, you know, for free, being part of the group. But I think just having the value of CLE 3D is one of the things that I've noticed.
And I mean, just to give you guys an idea, like we just did a Matterport and a video for a agent this week, and at doing it at the bare minimum cost that I could do it at, you know, it was $850. You know, like that wasn't professional pictures that we did with it. That was just a video and Matterport. You know, and it's like, you know, we get all of that. You know, this week we had just people that were doing pictures in Matterports, and the bills were $400. You know, like just for the pictures in the Matterport. That's not the house clean, the lawn mow, the, you know, the renovation, the moving services, the, you know, all these other things that, you know, the Maddies, the Casey's, the social media, the single page websites, like the floor plans that we're creating. You know, like we do all this stuff, and no one's even coming close, because look at the cost. You know, like I mean, those costs are $400 or $350 for a house that you're going to make, you know, so much on it. It just doesn't make sense to do a ton more. You know, the only reason we do is because we have that tool, you know, so we exploit it as much as we can.
Yeah, that's probably something that like really hurts a lot of agents, like profit, like paying for photos and stuff like that too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, because it's like
really appreciated.
Yeah, like I mean, like it's not an exaggeration that if you go and pay for all the stuff that we do, we have that sheet in our thing. It comes out to about $1,600. You know, I mean, it's definitely over $1,200. That's, I mean, my costs normally into the listings are normally about $500. You know, roughly just my cost. You know, like so, other people's costs have to be way higher. You know, because you know when you think of, you know, our admin fee doesn't even cover, you know, all the stuff that we're doing. You know, so it's all of those things kind of factor into you know, how we present ourselves, though, because it's important to our brand. You know, it's important to new agents to have that ability to go to someone and be like, why are you gonna go list with Kim Crane? She's not gonna do all this stuff with you. You know, like, no, I use Kim's great, you know, and everything, but you know, we do way more than she does. So I'm gonna keep going for the sake of time. So going into you know, is that cool, Sphere? Did anyone have anything else they want to finish up with that on? Okay. So I'm going to get into online lead prospecting now. So we're going to be revamping this a lot. You know, I'm going to kind of make some announcements on that for our team meeting tomorrow. But online leads are a very mixed bag, and they're the reason why you know is because the different sources just have different ways of doing it. You know, so you know, when I say online lead, I'm referring to Facebook, Zillow, and Realtor.com. You know, so so many people are going online to start, you know, so it's obviously, it has to be part of our business and part of what we're doing. You know, and the big important part about online leads is speed to lead. You know, you have to be fast to get to these leads. You know, you can kind of show, like, there's a million stats I can pull up that show, but just going on the Zillow.com study showed that a lead is 100 times more likely to be qualified if it was contacted in less than 5 minutes, and it drops by 4 times. You know, like, so you go down to 25%, you know, within 10 minutes, and then it's, you know, from there on it keeps going down more and more. You know, so if we're, you know, contacting leads an hour later or 2 hours later, it's, you know, the odds of us qualifying that lead, or that lead being, you know, a valuable part is just going to go away. So, you know, that's going to lead into us kind of, you know, revamping this a little bit with Inside Sales Agent and different things like that, you know, but, you know, I just want to kind of stress the idea that when you're dealing with online leads, the speed is by far the most important part of this, you know, like I really can't emphasize that enough. You know, and it's, you know, like the best way to kind of do that is we can easily set up these automated systems, you know, to make it really easy for you, to work with any lead that you get. You know, like, one of my favorite sayings is the fortune is in the follow-up, because it's so true. You know, like, I'm gonna you know, share my screen really quick. Okay, so I'm gonna stop presenting really fast. Now I'm gonna share my other screen here. Let's see, my console command. So I'm gonna kind of show you, like, the easiness, because command is actually had some pretty major changes to the the process of it. They had like, I don't know if you guys have played around in Command at all, but they had an update where you can now, like, download plans from other agents and stuff. So let me share this. Share screen. Okay. I don't know what you're going to see. Are you seeing my whole screen with the videos above? No?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're seeing or not.
It's like half command, half
you got. Okay. Perfect. All right, let me try this. Okay, is that all command now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, great. I love this thing. So I'm going to go to the desktop. So this is what command looks like when you log in. So it looks something like this. So over here on the side, you see there's smart plans 4 down. So when you go into these, you have the ones that I set up these, so but there's also up here at the top, you see how there's my smart plans at the top, and then there's library.
Mm-hmm.
So you can go into library and see ones that other people have posted, so if you want testimonial requests, if you want delays, if you there's a bunch of them in here as this loads up, lead channels, like all these different ones are posted from people with ratings in there. So when you go in, so say you want like this is 66 day for Facebook lead follow-up, right? So if you go and click on like view steps, you can kind of see, okay, the first one is a text message. Oh, sorry, no, get away. But you say, hey, their name, thanks for clicking on, let me get this over. Thanks for clicking on the home I recently posted on Facebook. This is your name with Keller Williams. Do you have any questions? And then there's a delay for a day. Then they're supposed to call. Then there's a delay for a day. Then another text. Then 2 days. Then another text. And another delay. And then you send an email. So this is how theirs is set up. But you can easily set these up on your own. So
This is amazing.
Oh yeah, it's gotten so much better, and there's going to be sorry, let me switch that. Okay, cool. So like going to mine, I'm actually going to be there. The next thing is I'm going to be able to publish this to you guys, so you can share mine, or if I make one in mine, I'll be able to share it to yours, or vice versa. So for example, here's my Facebook follow-up. A trigger is a manual in. Okay, so let's kind of. I wonder if I could publish it now. Maybe. I guess I'll have to see. I didn't think they were releasing that, but you can kind of see here's how it is. So my first step is that I send a text, and it's, hey, that person's name. My name is Eddie Golden with Keller Williams. I got your inquiry online. I just want to see if I can help at all. If you have any questions or I can help at all, just let me know. Then the next one is an email. I send, like it says, hey, I don't know if you got my text, but my name is Eddie Golden with Keller Williams, and I received your inquiry. Just let me know if I can help. Then there's a delay for a day. Then we add it to a smart, a weekly bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, so they start getting an email that way. Then I'm supposed to be making a call, and that gets added to your task lists in command. Then I'm sending another email, just wanted to see how everything was going. If you ever need anything, then there's another delay. Then I send another text, and see down at the bottom here, you kind of see all the things that you want to add. It's very, very simple. So you could just go and click, hey, send another text, and then that's on day 14 in the upper right here, and, you have, if you want to make it dynamic so they can send out different text messages for like it's the same smart plan, or, you can kind of go into here and send texts or whatever way you want to do it. So it's, just deleting it is very easy too. But it's kind of nice because you can restart it all if you want. You can create a task, all those different things. So, the email part of it is, very simple too. You can customize these things. You can add HTML content. So if there was like a video or like a Matterport or something like that, we could potentially do that. And add that in for you. So there's a lot of power in this. And they're adding functionality that's going to make it where right now it's manually triggered, but say into the future, the idea is that they'll be able to trigger. They'll know that the lead came from, say, Facebook. It will automatically trigger with the tag that you set up for Facebook. And then Facebook will automatically trigger the smart. So the more of this you get comfortable with, the more you can set up. It's just as easy that like if you go into a contact, say for example, I could go into this person that was just created. Say this Carol Latkovic. You can see I already sent a text to her. So she already got that. But if I wanted to, we could go into, do you see at the top here, there's timeline, there's opportunities, there's smart plans. If you just go to add to smart plan, and then all your smart plans appear there, you can go into select, say start now. I've already texted her, so I don't want to bombard her with, a bunch of stuff, but, it'd go live, and then she would just start getting the exact smart plan you did. So she'd start getting that 15 ways of contacting her she's going to get. You could set it up for 30 days, and be dripping on her 15 times, and you're not thinking of one thing, so it's like, it gives you that automated sense of it, and they keep adding more and more things into here all the time. So it's getting better and better. And as the more, that's why it's important to add in information into your contacts, because, this person came in for 33331 Lake Road. Oh, come on. It's not working. But, if you add in the neighborhood and different things like that, so that's in Avon Lake. And you find it on a map. Allow. It's not allowing me to click that, so. But it could be, if you just search for the address that you're looking for, it'll pull up the location. Okay, so now we're gonna do that. Sorry, it's kind of a pain when it does, but you can kind of see, okay, hey, I'm gonna add them into that neighborhood. And then that's what triggers the bi-weekly neighborhood nurture, so, going back to like what we were just talking about, in terms of, the, but hold on, I'm going to try something really quick. Just following up and speed to lead, that's why when you get a notification, adding that smart plan in, immediately starts that trigger, where it's like, hey, they get the text messages, they get, all that stuff, starts from there. So that's why, creating that smart plans and kind of investing, an hour into your time into, getting into that is really, I think an important part of it. So
Eddie, is there a command app on your phone?
That's what Kelly is. Okay. Honestly, what I do though, I think it's just better because command actually I'm on my phone right now, and this is what command looks like. It actually is a pretty nice mobile responsive website. So what I actually do is in my browser here, and most mobile browsers, right, when you're in here and you click on like an extra part of it, there's something that says like add to screen or add to like, something like that, and that will actually, like, when you do that, it'll say, hey, what do you want it to be called? And then it'll look something like, when you go into, come on, sorry. When you go to your home screen, it'll look something like this, the command dashboard, next to Messenger there. You see how it looks like? Do you guys see that?
Yep.
Yeah, so it'll look something like that. So when you click on it, it'll like go into that.
So like if you were to snag a lead, then you go right into command, put it there. So you don't do any like initial text messaging. Like, I've initially texted leads that I've had. So I'm just trying to think about now I can move them into a smart plan, but I'll have to start them like on a day 2 or 3 or, because I manually text the first time.
Yeah, exactly. I normally do like and it depends. It's kind of a way of thinking where it's like, hey, if you do it through Twilio, they don't have your number. Like Twilio, or how they send text messages through command is through an app called Twilio. It's like an online service, so it's like it's not a local number. It's like a 512 number that it's texting from. So it's good and bad. It's good in the idea that people don't have your personal number, so they can't go and stalk you or like, bombard you with anything. But it's bad in the idea that you're not getting those text messages right to your phone. So yeah, that's kind of the two good and bads of it, So you could just go and add this smart plan in, immediately, like, or you can go and just text them immediately and then start your smart plan at like, hey, I texted you. Now it's maybe an email starts off the smart plan, and then maybe, a text in a day or two, like something
Now,
like
does that change the number I'm texting from then once it gets into the smart plan?
There's no way to link your number into a command yet. We have tried.
Okay.
So,
and then if they text back, so is there a way to get notifications on my phone, or I literally have to just like check command to see?
You'll get notified in the Kelly app.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll pop up saying, oh, you got a text from this person, and it'll pop up on your phone. So you want to make sure you have Kelly for that notification. And then, that's a good call.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yep. So yeah, make sure you have the Kelly app downloaded on your phone. They're going to do a major update to that over the next quarter, I believe. That's going to add more functionality to it to give it, make it a lot more fluid with the online version. So it's going to get better. It's just the desktop is just, the console version of it is better for the time being. So, and we're going to do as we, kind of go into online leads, like we're going to kind of be shifting towards the leads going to, an inside salesperson and agentology. So the idea being that we would like to present you guys with more appointments instead of leads, because that, it makes our ability to handle more leads scalable when we move to different areas, and you guys aren't answering calls from Joe Blow, who knows, so we're only giving you like the better quality. So we're going to be shifting that a little bit, but all of it's going to be kind of running through command, so when you get a lead in the future, most likely it's already going to be entered into command. And then you'll just be, instead of claiming it through 5 Street, how we've been doing it, you'll be claiming it through command. So it's going to make the process it's going to make adding a smart plan to your contact way easier for you, it's because it's going to be shared through here. It's not going to necessarily be done through 5 Street. It's all going to be done this way. So big change, but that's coming. We'll go into that more on Monday, but just to give you an idea why having that and then a smart plan is important. Okay. So, continuing into online leads, that whole idea, we're going to be adjusting that a little bit, but it's important. If there's one thing you get out of this, the speed to online leads is really important. There's tons of great smart plans, and look into them. Let me know. We can set up really good smart plans ourselves. When we do our meetings one-on-one, and make really for you. Okay. So the next part obviously is expireds or for sale by owners. So this is the nice thing about this. They've already agreed that they're going to sell. So that, and where do you generally find those people? Robbie, have you prospected for sale by owners or expireds at all?
I have not.
No, I haven't. So basically, the nice thing about them is, they are going to pay a commission, because they're going to pay a 3% or 2% to a buyer's agent. So they've already reserved in their mind, they're going to pay a commission, they're willing to pay that. It's just a matter of, they might not be willing to pay 7%, they might not be willing to pay 6%, but, that's still an opportunity for you to get in front of someone who's already going to sell. And you can go and say, hey, we're going to do all of this stuff. And, if you have to take it at a 5% or something like that in order to get the listing in your first few listings, let's do it. Let's just get it under contract for you and whatnot. Because, if they're willing to pay 3% to be unrepresented, you can be like, hey, why don't you just pay the extra 2% and we'll do all this stuff for you, and then we'll handle that. And because if they're willing to pay 3%, really what we're going to pay on the other side is 3% on the first 100,000 and 2% on the balance. So we'll make up a little bit on that side. And then if we're charging 5%, we're not making nearly as much as we could, but most likely what's a for sale by owner have to do? Anyone? If they sell their house, what do they have to do?
Eddie, with that, would we have the option to just offer a lower commission to the buyer's agent, so it's not necessarily such a hit on our side? Let's say you take a FSBO at 5%. If we took 3 and then offered the buyer's agent 2, it wouldn't be that bad, right?
Yeah, but they're you know, in our market, you know, like that matters to an agent. Like when you're showing it, and you have to think of like, hey, that person has that buyer, and that they have to make money off that buyer. So if they see the house down the street at 3%, and then they see your listing at 2%, which one are they going to be talking up more? You know, they're going to be talking up the one down the street, just out of natural, not for any other reason.
Yeah, I think so. But I think also, like, I think that's natural that they would talk that up and they would do that. But like, also, I think a buyer is like, well, this is the house I like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. But you know, you want an agent to be on board with your house. You know, you want them helping you. You know, you don't want them going through a home inspection and being like, "Oh, this is a bad house. This is bad." You know, they're bad mouthing it every chance they get because they are going to not make as much. And don't get me wrong, I would hope that most agents aren't like that. You know, like, but there are agents like that. You know, easy sales, like the easy sales team, that is one of their pillars of their value proposition. They say, "Hey, we charge we do an even split." So when their commission says that it's 7 and 5, you know, they're giving you 3.5, 2.5. You know, like when it says that it's you know, 4, or if they say that the commission is 3, they're getting 6. You know, and what Easy Sales does is they say, hey, who is, you know, look at the commission splits in our area. Who is, you know, you think that agent's going to work harder for our listing where they're going to get $1,000 more, or the other one down the street that is not? You know, and they actually use that, and that's how one of their pillars of their value proposition is that everyone else offers inverse splits, you know, at 3-2, and they offer splits at 3.5, 2.5, and that's how they get listings because they pay more to the buyer's agent. You know, that's
funny
one of their 4 pillars of their, how our value proposition has all our stuff. Like that's one of their 4 pillars is they don't do inverse splitting, you know, for that reason. And it's like, you know.
But how, like, they explain that to sellers? I mean, as a seller, like, I don't care about inverse splits versus, so like, how do you even explain that to get listings?
Yeah, I think it's more of the idea that you explain it where the natural idea of how hard someone's going to work. You know, like if we're trying to market your house, right? And the house down the street, you're going to make $2,000, you know, and it's a nice house, you know, and your house is also a nice house. But on your house, the person who's the salesperson is only going to make $1,000. What are the odds, or who is that person going to really be pushing? What house are they really going to be trying for? Which one are they going to be like sitting there in your mind, like really trying to get you to buy? I am not kidding. I hate to say that I am a thing of that, but it's true. Like when I'm in a house, like, and I see that it's 2% commission, I am not pointing out stuff. I'm not pointing out like if it's there, you know, great, we'll talk about it. But like, I'm not going to go out of my way to be really talking about how great the house is unless the buyer's like really loving it, you know, because, you know, that buyer is really valuable to me, you know, like that person I'm supposed to be making, you know, if it's supposed to be 3,000 out of $200,000 buyer, you know, I'm supposed to be making $6,000 on it. You know, now I'm only going to make 4, you know, like that's $2,000, you know, like if they would buy just a completely different house that they'd probably like just as much, you know, so. Sorry, the sound on here just went down really bad, so I don't mean to. Oh, are you there?
Yeah, we're still here.
Okay, cool. Sorry, the sound is gone really low. Can you guys still hear me? Okay.
But like, my point on that is like, do you actually explain that to your sellers? Like you say, okay, well, you know, our value proposition is, you know, I'm going to split this commission, you know, down the middle, 50-50 even. And so that will get more buyers in the door because it's a more lucrative commission for buyers agents.
That's a really good way to put it. Yeah, because they're saying, hey, do you think a buyer agent is going to be more likely to go and bring a buyer into your house if they're going to make 6,000 or 4,000? You know, and I think that's just something that I know easy sales, that is something they really, really harp on, like when they're going into listing presentation. So just so you know, if you're going into a listing presentation against like one of the top team in Ohio, that's what they're pointing out, you know? So kind of interesting, I guess. You know?
Do you think like one of these sessions, maybe we could spend time on, like, that about easy sales? Do you think that like one of these next sessions, we could talk about what like about different teams? So like if you were going to go head to head, like in a listing presentation versus like, who else is presenting, like some things that you could, like some tips that you could give, like such as that.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely can. And it's actually very simple, to be completely honest with you. No one does much. Like, I mean, it's a very simple. I could tell you that the top team, there's the young team, Brian Salem's team, um, Ryan Young's team, and easy sales. Like, I mean, there's really maybe 5 to 10 people in this market that, if you're going up to them, they're doing anything more than pictures. Like that's it. Like there's not many people doing ad reports for every listing. They might do it for 1 or 2, but there's not many people doing it for all of them. There's not many people doing drone photos, for every listing. They might do it for luxury stuff, but I would assume most people are doing that. But as
So
far
would
as
you say then, like, it's fair to say, like, if you are going up against, one of those larger teams, like the Golden Group versus like the Young Group, or what, for example, like obviously our value proposition, what we offer is a lot more than the other teams. But then let's say, we lose out the listing against there. Do you think it just comes down to personality fit, or
Yep.
it comes down to like relationships, like what you were talking about earlier?
100%. I think a lot of it is, did they have a previous relationship with them? Did they have anything like that? I think a lot of it comes down to that stuff that, because if it comes down to a financial decision, it's going to be really hard to beat us, like, because we will do it at a split that is cheap, or as cheap as anyone. And we do a lot of other stuff, so, and just kind of keeping into that idea of like for sale by owners and everything, 89% of sales in the United States use an agent. So there's only 11% of sales that don't have an agent. And then even with 36% of FISBOs, it came out as CABOs, sorry, with spell check, but 36% of for sale by owners eventually turn to an agent. So they might start out as a for sale by owner, but eventually they're going to go into that. So and then when you're thinking of like the biggest issues, that those for sale by owners that they're facing are pricing, paperwork, and selling it in a timely manner. So if you can kind of go into them and be like, hey, I can be that advocate. I can help you with this. I can do this. If I can come over to your house and kind of give you an idea of what your price is, I can provide paperwork, and just continue to reach out to them, like it's really about the consistency of it, like there is, I think there's a stat, I couldn't find it, but that said that the average for sale by owner takes 8 to 11 times of you dripping on them. So it's like that initial call. It's the, then maybe following it up with dropping off property disclosures. Then it's, doing all those, it kind of goes to that. So I'm sure the question will come up as where do I get those phone numbers, right? So there's a website called anywho.com. It is, it's a reverse lookup, where it allows you to kind of like do a reverse page lookup of people, so you could start here. There's, you can look up in the O page, reverse phone lookups, if you have a phone number, if you want to find information, or people searches, you can see what information you can find. There isn't a lot of good other information. There's something called Vulcan dialer that we'll get into, that is about where you can actually search for people and actually do that. And we're willing to provide that for you guys if you actually want to get into actually doing that. So, going into like perfect segue into how do we prospect, it's, really what we were talking about in the beginning, that time blocking part is such an important part. It's really kind of having that consistency in your week. Maybe you don't do it every day. Maybe you don't do it, all the time. But if you could carve out one time or one day a month where you can fit in, an hour and a half or, 2 hours or something like that, or even an hour where you can just consistently be dripping, on your sphere, because that is such a huge part of it. it's that consistency with it. It's blocking off that time. And then providing scripts. I don't know if you guys saw in the chat that I sent out, but I sent out a script sheet. It's 65 pages of scripts, for all different scenarios. Did you guys get that?
Yeah, it came through in the chat. Also, are you do you have a PowerPoint slide we're supposed to be looking at right now?
Oh yeah, is it not doing that?
No, I just see
Okay.
I see all of your beautiful faces.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, sure.
Eddie, I got the diagram that had like all the red and stuff to show like email, follow-up, text message, all of that, but I don't.
Are you seeing it now? Oh.
We can see your screen. Megan, I can forward you the script thing.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah.
Do you see my screen on this left? Do you see the presentation or the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So, like going into that idea, like those scripts are great, and I taught a class about how powerful it is to have great conversations, because it's so important to kind of have a little bit of a preparedness, for when you actually go and reach out to people, actually like talking and sounding confident and not robotic, like, because it's one thing to look at scripts, but it's a whole other thing to actually kind of go in and sound confident and not sound like as generic, kind of keep it that fluid type of conversation, and there's something like an elevator speech, I think that a lot of people, refer to as just having that, how can you bring up that you're in real estate, quickly, if you're like in a 10-second thing, like the idea that if you go up to a bank teller, you could be like, oh, hey, I was just out showing houses, or, oh man, the weather looks really crappy. I love showing houses or I hate showing houses when it's crappy, or I love showing how, and then she's like, oh, you're an agent, and then it gives you that natural way of, the weather's a really easy way to relate it back, that if you're just in a quick situation, like, oh man, I have to go show houses today and I hate when it's raining, and it instantly brings up, that you're an agent. So those types of things that can start to lead to really good results, I think is a really important part of it. So, I'm just kind of talking about the phone prospecting part of it, is what we were talking, Vulcan 7. We could load up a list for you. We can load up for sale by owners. We could load up expireds. We can load up, like neighborhoods in Vulcan 7. And you can just be, put on a headset and just start power dialing, and just call and call and call. But, not everyone, that's not made for everyone. But, if that's something that you want to do, that's one way to do it. That phone prospect idea of it is just a really powerful, aspect. So, yeah, so I think it's always good. So getting into like text prospecting. So we're gonna get into, it's the millennials' preferred way of messaging, and they're the largest home segment of buyers, currently in our market. So I think obviously that has a big part of it. But we talked about like the texting software through command, and making it where smart plans can just automate that, like you can actually go into it and actually like text directly from a contact, like in command, for example, are you guys still seeing both my screens?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So for example, if I go in here and I'm in, Carol's thing, and I actually click on her phone number, it'll say I can call her or I can send a text with Twilio, so if I send a text, I could just text her whatever I want, right from in here, and then when I do that, it'll log it down at the bottom of her page, in the, timeline, so see it logs it down here, so that kind of gives you an idea of, what you could do just to automate it and mass texting, so you can hit as many people. But let's get into BombBomb, because BombBomb, we haven't really dug into a lot in all the other things, but I have to download. But BombBomb is a really, really cool tool. I have to download on this phone. I actually haven't. But BombBomb's like a video chat platform. So it allows you to send video through email, through texting, and it gives you that face-to-face interaction, so if you're not comfortable calling people, but you still want to kind of have that, personalized contact. So maybe you get an online lead. They don't know you from Adam, but, it would be nice if they kind of had a face to associate with the name, so maybe you send a video message. It's like, hey, Susie, I just got your message online. I really, just wanted to introduce myself. If you guys have any questions, I'm here to help, blah, 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 and you send it over to them. So you'll see when you do that, you'll see when they open it, you'll see how long they watched it for. If you send it in an email and you send it out to, say, 1,000 people or something like that, you will see, like, you can send video emails. I've made 59 emails or messages. I went and cleaned out all my contacts. I used to have like 1,500 in here. But you can kind of see, like, you can have, your videos. So you have like kind of like, I've sent out bombs to you guys before, in text messages, just making announcements and stuff. You can kind of see, let me see if they have like a template on it. Yeah, so here's kind of like an example.
This could be a funny way to like get to your inner circle of people that you're like, I need you to be a raving lunatic of support for me. Here, look, I'm testing out this new technology.
120%. Because it's like, that you could put like a nice like branded thing on the top, so it has like your logo and your name and all those things. And I'm trying to see if we can see an example of it. So you can see at the bottom too, it has like contact me, visit our website, starting your home search, see our magazine, so you can go straight to, Flip Snack, or, like if you click on start your home search, it'll take you to our Keller Williams like search page, where people can go and just start, and then, you can kind of, it'll lead it into the app if you want, so it just gives you an idea. It's a really nice way to, if you're not super comfortable, with that's really dark and creepy.
It's like you were sending a bomb from your bed or something.
Yeah, I know. I was doing it for it was to the team. I don't even want to see what it was, to be honest. But it's kind of like those let's see if I can show you one so you kind of see what it might look like, but but yeah, you get an idea, so like, yeah, when you send it through a text, they get a link, and you can add stuff to it, but it gives you a great tracking capability. So I think that it's, and the nice thing that BombBomb claims is it gets past like 99.9 of spam filters. So it should get into your client's email, so that's kind of the nice thing about it. But yeah, it's awesome. This is about $600, for the year. So I kind of make it, you could sign up for a free trial. It's 14 days. And in your free trial, if you send out regular messages, I don't even want to put a number on it, but if you send out, a regular amount of messages and you have a plan of incorporating this into your business, I'm happy to pay for this for you. But it's more of, a lot of the times, it's just not being used, so that's kind of one of the things. So just keep that in mind, that
it's
if you decide that you
$600
want
for the team or per person?
per person.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
In our first year, I spent about $4,000 on it, or $3,000, something like that, for everyone on the team to do it, and no one used it. So
Yeah.
we started taking. Right, I love it. I still use it for myself, every so often. But since we haven't been doing open houses, we haven't been doing a lot of that stuff. I haven't really been sending out stuff. But because of that, it kind of is limited a little bit, but it's still a really great tool. So if you feel like it's something that you guys would use, like I highly recommend it. So, and one of the other nice things about it too is it has an email signature integration. So you can instantly start like sending messages right from your Gmail or anything like that, and then you can see when people open your emails and stuff like that. It has a nice like email inbox. It's really cool. So just something to keep in mind. Well, if you want to do that, send me a message and let me know that you're planning to do that, and we can work on it from there. Okay. Okay, and then I'm sorry, I know this is a long meeting. I appreciate you guys bearing with me. Then getting into like email blasts, so going into that idea of free stuff, sitting down with Maddie and developing or signing up for your MailChimp account and getting that integrated into Command. packet here. Like it gives you the ability to just hit different email groups, because that's really one of the things that makes Command really cool is, when you go into campaigns, say for example, we can do, oh, it's not available on the okay. Let's see the desktop site. Okay, here we go. So you have at the top your dashboard, you see paid ads, but at the top here is also emails. So, they just started integrating more email campaigns lately where you can actually send out stuff yourself, but when you're in here, there's that plus on the lower right. When you click it, you could do, any of these search ads or anything. You click on email. And then, you kind of say, hey, what's the email for? It's like, hey, maybe we're advertising a listing. And at the bottom there, you can kind of see if you want to send it out through command email or through MailChimp. So if you already have your contacts, and it's easy into MailChimp, we have a lot of stuff in MailChimp already. You can do it that way. They literally just started allowing you to do the campaign emails in the last like 2 weeks. So, if you set up, you have to do a thing. I'll just say test. But if you go to the bottom, you set up a campaign. And Maddie will help you with all of this. Maddie will do this for you, so don't feel like, you need to, or she can help you, but you can kind of see, at the top, you can say stuff address, schedule it, send test emails, preview it. The main thing I want to go over is the list part, so you can send to list, you can kind of see. There are all sorts of, I have a bunch of lists. I hope they don't fail me right now because I have like lists for Facebook. I have buyer lists. I have seller lists. I have past client lists. So if you're trying to send something out, hopefully your list would apply, but they aren't because I need it to. So that sounds about right. But that's where you send it, and just kind of showing you like, hey, that's all in command. Maddie is there to help you with all of that stuff. So don't feel like you're bothering her at all because that's what she's there for. So she wants to help you create email campaigns, newsletters, just listed postcards, all that kind of stuff, just to give you an idea of, what she sends out for, mine whenever we list something, just to give you an idea. I don't know if you guys get this because, it is, don't know. But she sends out an email that looks like this. And she could easily do this for you once you have your list set up. And that can easily be set up by just, it would look something like, yes, there we go. So it's like there, back in market, that if you want to schedule a showing, it has all that information about what we do, and then people can go in there and start, going to search for homes, so Maddie will make this for you, and have all of your stuff on here, or she can send out content for you whenever anyone on the whole team lists stuff, like it can be your name on here, but it just kind of gives, stuff on here. So yeah, that's kind of what Maddie can do too, with email blasts, because you just want to continue to post like relevant information and hit it from every way. If they see it on email, if they see you on Facebook, if they see you on text, they see that you're doing all these things. And this can be just automated, this can just be something that runs through a smartphone, so and it gives you a lot of cool stuff. And same thing with BombBomb. BombBomb has automated emails that they can send out, automated video chats, all sorts of stuff. So, and I think setting up groups is a really important part of that, but I actually have to play around with that because I have a bunch of them set up, but I don't know why they're in there. So yeah, I know that we've talked about a lot, but I'm just going to fly through the other stuff here. So just emphasizing video. Facebook Live is such an important tool. It's such a great tool, like it's the one tool that when you actually start a Facebook Live video, everyone on your Facebook list gets notified, like everyone's notified where, hey, you just started a video and went live. Do you want to see it? So that is a really powerful tool. So just thinking of that when you're in neat little communities like Silver Lakes, or when you're, doing different things and you're in unique spots, to kind of emphasize, hey, I was just, doing this, and like, here's downtown Vermilion, here's downtown Chagrin Falls, those kind of things. Cameo, that's a really awesome tool. If you have someone that you look up to in real estate, if you have someone that you look up to in general, and when you have a major accomplishment, let us know, we're happy to like pay for a cameo for you to get a shout out, like Mike did it with Tiger King. I did it with Mike with Joe Thomas when he got when he passed $5 million in sales. Those posts are the most viewed posts on our Facebook group, so if you can go and spend $50 to $100 to highlight an accomplishment in your career, let's do that, because, you're for sale, like if you're a big fan of, I can't even, anyone, like think of anyone, it doesn't matter, like let's get them to shout you out. Offers.com, like that is a smart technology company, where they kind of specialize in putting leads in an area. So if you have a neighborhood that you really want to farm and you want to make it part of your farming network, we will work with you to develop a offers.com area, and they predict the listings that are most likely to be coming up, so they take everyone in that area and they run it through a bunch of different algorithms, and they give people scores, and they predict about 75% of the houses that sell every year, and they do a really good job with ranking them and putting them in order. So that's another way that we could prospect. We could hit them. You get their name, you get their address, you get their postcard. Like you get a lot of that stuff. So we can drip on them. So just another way that we could do it. We split postcards 50-50. Going on the idea of events. When you have an event that you have planned out. If you're going to do a movie, want to run out a movie theater. If you want to do a wine night, painting with a twist. If you want to do one of those wine or a beer brewing night. If you plan or come to us with a plan, you have access to Maddie, you have access to all of us, and I'll also split the cost 50-50 with you on those things. So keep that in mind. We'll talk about this a little more tomorrow too, but and Megan and I talked about this a little bit, but starting a Facebook group. Facebook groups are really powerful. They can prospect in areas that you're not really familiar with, and just kind of, if you focus on something that isn't necessarily real estate related, like finding referrals or neat gems around Cleveland, or if you need whatever it is, like real estate, or I don't want to keep it real estate, but top restaurants, in Cleveland, and have people post and grow that type of network. It can create a really powerful people or a community, that becomes loyal to you, so and then also door knocking. I used to door knock all the time. Like I used to actually send out, I'd pick a neighborhood on Monday. We would send out handwritten or hand addressed letters saying that we would be in a neighborhood Saturday morning door knocking, and to not be alarmed. But if they wanted to talk about selling their house, we'd be there, and it was insane how many people would open that letter and like wouldn't be surprised that we would come through. But we did a lot through door knocking, so yeah. I know this is a long meeting, so I appreciate you bearing with me. Does anyone have questions or thoughts or want to go over anything else?
Eddie, I know you said you would talk more about the FB groups tomorrow. Are we going to be able to see maybe the video that she talked about?
Yes, exactly. Okay. Yep, you bet. That is actually one that I was focusing on downloading and capturing. Anderson's actually been, we started yesterday, copying all the videos from MegaCamp. So yeah, we should hopefully within a week have all of the videos from MegaCamp, at least the most relevant ones, by Friday. But tomorrow I'll have that one about Facebook groups, and there's another one I was going to have on there tomorrow. But about inside sales agent and stuff. We're going to talk about that. So yeah.
Also, one more thing. Mike had mentioned KW Bold. They have a digital conference coming up starting October 20th. And I just wanted to see like what your take on that was for helping. Like he said, it helped him with schedule, but it can also help you like kind of organize and help with prospecting. Have you ever done it?
I have never done it, but we do a program with Bold. So, you know, Bold I think is like $800. You know, so if you want to do it, how we do it is if you pay for Bold and complete Bold, we reimburse you $500 at the end. You know,
I
so
think
it
right
really
now it's
costs you.
$3.99 because I think they're
Oh,
only doing it
$3.99.
monthly.
Oh, cool. Well, then there
Yeah,
you get
I looked
only
into
cost you
it.
99.
For 28.
Oh yeah, we'd actually, you know, so is it like is it virtual? Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's 4 weeks, 2 hours
Oh,
for
okay.
2 days a week. But I just wanted like a second opinion to see like if anybody else had done it and what they got from it.
Yeah, that sounds like a different program than the other Bolds in the past. Bold is normally like an 8-week program
Yeah.
that's 8 hours a day, you know, and it's a pretty intense kind of program, you know, so that seems like a much more manageable kind of program, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
it used to be 800. They had it like crossed out. So
yeah,
maybe they like downsized it because of COVID.
yeah, because of virtual kind of everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that, you know, if you're interested in trying it out, you know, and see if it's worthwhile to you, you know, I'm more than willing to reimburse. I kind of like to do the classes on the idea of if you complete them, then I reimburse you as opposed to paying for them up front, you know, just because I've been burned by that before. So people like I pay for a class and no one goes, you know, and that's what we kind of want to avoid. But you know, that's great. I wasn't even aware of that, to be honest. So
Okay.
awesome. But people swear by Bold. Bold is one of the core things of Keller Williams, so people love it.
Okay.
James has done Bold. James did Bold last, and Mike has done Bold. Those are the two on our team who have. So.
Okay, cool. So I'll probably look into signing up then.
Yeah, and just let me know if you have any trouble, you know, with paying for it. Just let me know, and we can make exception if you're actually going to be engaged in doing it, you know. So.
Yeah.
So. Does anyone else have any thoughts? I know this was a lot and it was long, so I really appreciate you bearing with me. And hopefully you got something out of it. Was it useful?
I totally got a ton out of this. And also I think that I would like to spend some time picking everyone's brain, or like Maddie's brain too, on like how to harness statistics of our team, like for some of my like introductory emails and social posts and things, because I feel like, well, I don't personally have credibility yet. There's so much credibility that could come with saying, you know, our team, here's the 4 new listings our team has this week, or here's the 5 open houses we have, or like we're the top team doing this, or we're the only people doing this. Just kind of coming up with a slew of sound bites like that I can post that look good on me, but it's really just like credibility from our team.
Yeah, no, that's great. I like that idea. Like having like and it would be great
I
to
saw
just have
that
a bunch of different
Facebook, Eddie, like that Keller Williams Facebook group, that like we were the only team. What was it? Like we were like the top group and the top team, like, and then for like August or something.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be good if we just put, because that's why I try and post the numbers like in our team meetings when we do it, just to have like that. So if we can go and take kind of some of that what we're doing there, but then also being like, we are the only agents in Cleveland that do Matterports for every listing, pictures for every, or professional pictures for every listing, drone pictures for every listing. We're the only ones, you know, so we can definitely say that, you know, we can definitely say that we're the only ones that clean a house, you know, like every listing. We're the only ones that do lawn care for every listing, you know, like we're the only ones that do all of those things, you know, so we can safely say for every listing, we can safely say that we do those. So we can add that in, plus like our sales numbers, you know, like, I mean, our sales numbers are really good, you know, so we do have that to be able to add to it too. And soon enough, like the tech stuff is going to be really, really awesome. So. Cool. Any other thoughts or ideas or things that you want to share or add? No. Well, I appreciate all of you guys. Sorry. But thank you guys for all of this very long meeting, hour and 45 minutes. I really, really appreciate your time on a Sunday. So
what are you doing in Silver Lake?
I was showing the house out here. It's a nice hour drive to have them not like the house.
Is it like a Is it like a lake property or something? You're breaking up.
It's on Silver Lake Drive, so yeah, it's not a lake property, but you can see the lake from the house, so it's awesome out here. It's so nice. So yeah, well, thanks
on a
so much.
Sunday. No rest for the wicked.
No rest, no way. I have to go show another house after this, and gonna go show this house in Avon Lake for a third time that we are hopefully gonna wrap up today, and then list their house on Parkview. So, Paul, if you want to move to Parkview, right down the street from me,
I'll keep you in mind.
Sweet.
Yeah, it is. It's very, very nice. It's very Mad Men. I think Mad Men. It's like that style. It's very cool.
It has a sunken living room.
No, like all one floor. It's like, but the furniture is like Mad Men. The style. It's so nice. It's like cool. It's like two gay guys did it, and it's just very, very nice. So
sounds perfect for Paul.
Yeah,
they got good fashion.
Like
what can I
duo,
say?
But this worked well on the duo. That's sweet.
Cool. Eddie, did you see that that one house on Lake and Electric there? Used to be my old grandparents' house.
Oh, are you serious?
Oh,
yeah,
it did not look like that. It was a red brick house before then. They added on, but yeah, they used to be my grandparents' house. They bought it from my grandpa.
I saw you say that. That's right. I forgot to message you about that. That's right. Like, that's crazy. Yeah, that house is, it's beautiful. It's so nice now. Like, we were talking about them putting shutters on it.
It's massive. Did it used to be, like, small, Paul?
Yeah.
So where the garages came down, that was an add-on, but the rest of it, was the main part of the house.
Wow.
It definitely looks different. The way, it was more separate. They opened the whole thing up,
Wow.
But they did a really nice job.
That's awesome. What a small world. Yeah, I got some feedback from someone that said that they should put black shutters on the front. So I thought that was a little interesting. So yeah.
It's a slick-looking house.
Yeah. How are classes coming?
Mm-hmm.
Coming along slow. How are classes coming?
Not too bad. I was telling Megan that I'm not gonna lie, because I still work and everything, we got really busy, and I've definitely slowed down the last couple of weeks, but I still, as much as I can get done every night or whatever, I'm always trying to get a little bit done or circling back and studying stuff that I've gone over. But it's it might take me a little while just because I do work, but I am plugging away.
I appreciate you coming to all the meetings. Like yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, I think like coming to the meetings and stuff is just as good as like doing some of the stuff in classes. I feel like for me, even like taking the classes, like I learn more in these meetings, like real life situations, than like I do from like the book.
Totally agree.
The books are like meant to keep you from being sued, and this is meant to make you money. That's like I think the idea is that, like, when you get started, it's like, hey, it's they can't really teach you anything specific to one brokerage or another, because then they're showing bias. So they can't show you a contract, and they can't show you any sort of paperwork, which is really the main part, So yeah, it's kind of a bummer in that sense, but
yeah.
Yeah, we're all about making the money.
Yeah. So yeah, we're gonna revamp. Is Steve coming in today?
I can't hear you. What?
Is Steve coming in today?
Yeah, he is.
Okay.
Hey guys, I gotta scoot. Thank you so much for your time, Eddie. This was great.
Thanks for coming. I appreciate it.
Talk to you
Bye,
guys.
Enjoy your Sunday.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thanks, guys.